Hey, what's up, everybody? I just have some quick reviews that I want to do. First show I want to review is Evolve 6. Austin Aries versus Chuck Taylor. This is a big main event for the Evolve 6 show. A lot of you guys know Aries left ROH for, I guess, financial reasons or, cost-cutting reasons or whatever it was. And, Gabe Sapolsky said that he would actually let the fans vote for the Evolve 6 main event. And then from all the guys that were available, Austin Aries and Chuck Taylor were the two guys that got voted in for the main event of Evolve 6. And this is pretty cool. If you've been watching YouTube before the show took place, they were trying to, have as much build up for this show as possible in a really short amount of time. I mean, they had Chuck Taylor, he has his own YouTube channel, and then Aries, as a lot of you guys know, Aries is uploading videos on his channel. It's called Real Healy Guy or Real Healy Man or whatever it is. It was pretty entertaining. I really liked the promos. I thought it was a nice change of direction for Aries. Aries is basically insulting Chuck Taylor to take it more seriously, and then Chuck Taylor was getting on YouTube saying that Aries has no life. He spends all his time in the gym while I'm a poor college student. I don't have time to spend all day working out and playing with myself in front of the computer. So I thought the storyline was pretty cool. It was a nice, simple, short storyline leading up to the match. And I was really excited for it. I think the DVD took way too long to come out. I mean, it took them 4 months to come out. I don't know what the deal is. I think Sapolsky or whoever is with Dragon Gate USA Evolve, I think they need to spend less time on the artwork and the bonus features and just get the shows out quicker. I don't think anyone really cares about that stuff, to tell you the truth. Because I definitely think, DVD sales and the buzz would just be a lot higher the quicker the shows come out. That's just my opinion. But yeah, let's break it down. I'll try to go through this as quickly as possible. To tell you the truth, I was extremely disappointed by this. I actually asked Gabe Sapolsky what he thought of the show because I just wanted to get his quick thoughts. All he pretty much told me was he was really happy with the way it came out. That's all he told me. So really wasn't saying much. But yeah, I was disappointed by it. I would say that I can't tell you, but this might have been the weakest Evolve show. I think you could argue that Evolve 1 and Evolve 2 were weaker than this, but I think Evolve 4 blows this away. I even think Evolve 5 was slightly a little bit better. So my overall rating for this show is going to be a 7.5. I think that's a fair rating. I was kind of leaning towards the 7.25, but I think there was enough good stuff on here to justify giving it a 7.5. So let's go through this. We had Drake Younger taking on Silas Young. That was the opening match. A lot of you guys know Drake Younger from CZW. He's not a pretty looking guy. He's pretty cut up, pretty old looking, not in great shape. But he puts his body on the line, gives a solid effort every single time. Silas Young is extremely talented, and he was the AAW champion, so he has the ability. The thing I think that holds Silas Young back is his look. He's pretty jacked up. He's pretty intimidating looking, but in today's era, he just kind of looks like a jacked up Jake the Snake Roberts. I just think he stands out as kind of like that 80s, long hair look from the, he just has that look from the 80s, and I think that kind of his appearance just kind of hurts him because I just think his look is kind of off considering today's standards. So as far as this match goes, it was hard hitting. It was short, sweet, and to the point. They worked extremely hard. It's pretty much all I can say. Austin Aries is on commentary. He really seemed to enjoy it. Probably like a 2.5-star match. All right, next we had a 4-way match. We had Rich Swane taking on AR Fox, Tony Nese, and Scott Reed. This is pretty much like your typical spot fest. Rich Swane looked really, really impressive here. The story of the match is AR Fox. He did a great job here. He actually botched the move and fell on his head at the beginning. Now, you would think the fans would have chanted, "You fucked up," but they actually got behind him, and they actually added to the match. And then AR Fox started to pull off, more spots, and they got behind them for each and every spot. So AR Fox really got over here. He looked impressive, and pretty solid action. I know some people are gonna complain about the psychology of this match, but it was okay for what this was. Pretty much just all moves, but it was fun to watch. Next we had Kyle O'Reilly versus Bobby Fish. I mean, not really much to say about here. I actually thought the match they had at Evolve 1 was just a little bit easier to digest. I mean, if you saw the first Evolve show, these guys actually opened up the show as the first Evolve match ever, so they decided to put them together. Pretty much the story of this match was, to get Bobby Fish that big win because at this point, he's actually 0-4. He had never won a match in Evolve yet. It's kind of funny to me. Bobby Fish seems like he's that, veteran that, he's pretty much an older guy. He's a veteran. He's got the experience, but he just never seems to get it done. It seems like he's still trying to make his way up, even though he's so old and so established to a degree. So, Kyle O'Reilly, at the time, I think he signed the contract with ROH, so, they were going to have him. Obviously, they weren't going to have O'Reilly go over. All right, next up, we have Up in Smoke taking on the Super Smash Brothers. I mean, really not much to say about this, just solid tag team wrestling. Both these teams could definitely go. Up in Smoke, they've been utilizing Up in Smoke in Evolve a lot more than Super Smash Brothers, which just brought in for the show as special attractions. I mean, you've seen these, these are two of the most underrated teams on the independent scene. ROH will bring these guys in from time to time if they're close by and they don't have to fly them in. They're not. I guess ROH doesn't think they're quite good enough to become ROH regulars. I guess they just don't think they're worth the money, but they're still very, very good teams. I think both teams could definitely fit in ROH. But this is solid. This is like a 3 1/4 star match. Really, really good stuff between these two teams. Next up, we had Homicide and Jon Moxley. Relax rules. I think this is probably a lot better than the Dragon Gate match that they had. I didn't see the Dragon Gate match they had yet. I heard that was garbage. But this wasn't great, though. It wasn't a great brawl. It was kind of tough to watch, but at the same time, it was very, very edgy. It was very, very violent. It was very gruesome, kind of tough to watch in a good way because it was so violent. Moxley played a great antagonist here. That's pretty much all I could say. Moxley actually made Homicide pass out. Pretty good stuff. It wasn't bad. I think the aftermath was actually almost longer than the match. They really dragged this out. I think the that aftermath promo kind of just dragged a little bit too long. So that's my one complaint with the match. But as far as the intensity and the the promos on the mic between the two guys and the interaction, it was pretty good. It wasn't bad. I think Moxley really he showed a little bit of his comedic side in this match, which I really think helped, especially in the aftermath. All right, next up we have Ricochet versus Adam Cole. You get two high flyers in this match. Adam Cole, just like Kyle O'Reilly, I think Adam Cole was officially signed with ROH at this point, so that was kind of disappointing about the match. But yeah, I mean, don't expect Ricochet to be flying around a lot here. I mean, these two wrestled a pretty solid match. Just good chemistry between the two guys. A lot of good counters, and there was an awesome spot where I think Ricochet was he looked like he was going for the Taker thing when he walks on the ropes. Looked like he was going for some kind of Hurricane Rana, and then Cole just countered it into a German suplex and dropped Ricochet on his head. That was an awesome spot. But I was kind of disappointed by this. I think these two, considering their athleticism, I think they could have done more. But it was still a good match. Next we had Jimmy Jacobs versus Johnny Gargano. This was good. This was very, very solid. This is like a high 3.5 stars. These guys have pretty much been. They kind of had like a friendly, feud the whole year. They've been kind of. It wasn't like a blood feud or anything. It's kind of like a comedy / annoying type of feud. Like they both, like Gargano pretty much got on Jacobs' nerves during the first Evolve show, and it's kind of just been like a friendly feud throughout the whole year, like a pain in the ass feud. And they really they did some good things in this match. They were actually they were hanging from the rafters and using the pillars as like an Ultimate X thing. It looked like an Ultimate X match at one point. It was pretty cool what they were doing. A lot of suicidal offense into the crowd. Jacobs looked great. Jacobs is really cleaned his act up. He's just putting on a nice string of matches and really having good like whole main events on a lot of these Dragon Gate / Evolve shows. I think really Ring of Honor definitely dropped the ball with Gargano. I feel like that was one guy that they really should have locked up because this guy has charisma and he could definitely go. So yeah, Jacobs versus Gargano. Good stuff between those two guys. All right, so next up we have the main event. We had Chuck Taylor taking on Austin Aries, the poor college student, versus the A-Double Wrestling Machine, or whatever you want to call Aries right now. I'm not so sure what his exact. Well, the thing about Aries in this match, just want to let you guys know, he wrestled the old Austin Aries style with the old attire. It seems like ever since he left ROH, he really bulked up. I'm not so sure if he was taking steroids or whatever, but he really looked like he put on some size. They really played off of the poor college kid thing with Chuck Taylor insulting Aries that he doesn't have all the time in the world to spend in the gym, and Aries kind of played off of that by mocking Taylor because of his conditioning. A lot of you guys know Chuck Taylor. He's a good athlete, but he's not necessarily in good shape. He's got a lot of fat on his stomach. He just doesn't look like he works out that much. So Aries is kind of insulting him. He was actually doing push-ups, and he was doing one-handed push-ups, which actually looked pretty impressive. But yeah, I was kind of disappointed in the ending of this match. I thought this ended a little bit too soon, but some of the positive things that we could take away from the match was that it was competitive. There was the wrestling here was very, very solid. Just good technical wrestling. A lot of nice reversals. Taylor was going for his move. I forget, what's the name of Taylor's finishing move? I'm not even sure what the name was. It's some kind of wacky name, and Aries is kind of, just countering that the whole match. Aries did the heat-seeking missile. He did, the double stomp from the top rope. There was a little bit of high spots here, but mostly this was just a solid technical wrestling match. Just good fast-paced action. They didn't kill each other. I just thought the ending was a little bit too soon. I was kind of disappointed with how the match ended. But I'm going to say it was still a solid 4 stars. It did leave you wanting more. In my opinion, is considering that Evolve is such a young promotion and it's not really that well known yet. I feel like they really need to deliver above and beyond expectations in the main event. Didn't really get that yet. I wouldn't say this was... I'm going to say this barely edges out. Maybe one of the top 5 Evolve matches to date, but I thought Danielson versus Fish was better than this. I think Kota Ibushi versus Davey Richards was a lot better than this. I think even Danielson versus Sal was better than this. So this really wasn't like anywhere near the best Evolve match in Evolve history. Maybe like the 5th or 6th best Evolve match so far. So I was just expecting more from it because I was really, really intrigued by this, the build-up for the match and the actual matchup. It was really interesting to see the effort that Aries gave. Aries gave a great effort, but I just think the overall, length of the match could have been done a little bit better. So that's Evolve 6. All right, and really quickly, I want to talk about PWG Cyanide. This was the last PWG event of 2010, and it was good. A lot of you guys pretty much have a feel for how good the show is based on other people's reviews, and I think everyone's pretty much dead on. I really agree with what YouTube. For the people that reviewed it on YouTube, Trademark, Big Rat. I'm sure someone else might have reviewed it. I pretty much agree with everything. The thing I want to say about this show is it's not PWG's worst show of the year, but it's one of the weaker ones. I would probably say that it's probably the 2nd or 3rd weakest, but there's still a lot of good stuff on it. It doesn't really have, I don't know, it doesn't really have that match of the year candidate. I think Kevin Steen versus Akira Tozawa is something that I think everyone should check out, but still, it didn't really capture the magic that Tozawa and Hero did at Battle of Los Angeles, which I was kind of expecting. But this is still great, though. This was still, one of the top, maybe arguably one of the top 10 PWG matches of the year. This got a lot of time. Steen was really, really stiff with Tozawa. For some reason, Akira Tozawa just kind of, in PWG, it just works. He really captivated the audience. Whenever he wrestles there, it just creates that magical atmosphere. And the same thing kind of happened here. I really think, in my opinion, I think Tozawa needs to win the PWG title. I was thinking maybe you could have Tozawa win the Dragon Gate USA title. I just think it'll fit a lot better in PWG, considering that he really gets this place rocking. And like I said, the atmosphere whenever Tozawa wrestles in PWG, it's just friggin' awesome. And so I think PWG should capitalize on it. Maybe you could do Claudio versus Tozawa at the 8th anniversary show in the summertime. I think that's something to think about. But like I said, Steen versus Tozawa, excellent match. I'm going to give it a high 4 stars. I wouldn't quite say it was 4.5 or 4 3/4, which a lot of people did give it that rating. I think that's a little bit too high. I just didn't think it had enough. It didn't have enough magic and not enough drama for it to reach that level. But still a good performance by Steen. Steen and Tozawa really respect. There was a mutual respect at the end of the match, and then eventually they would tag up together in DDT4. The other match I want to talk about is Kings of Wrestling versus Paul London and El Generico. This was really good. I think the only thing that hurt it was the length of the match. It really ended right before it got going. This was on pace to being awesome. I thought London looked pretty good here. Usually he botches stuff, but I think he looked pretty solid. This is probably the best I've seen him look. Claudio and El Generico just have tremendous chemistry. Like when Claudio was going for the Ricola bomb, Generico would just reverse it. It just, the stuff between them is just so sweet. I can't wait to see their match at the Kurt Russell reunion show. But like I said, they're kind of disappointed by the ending. This was actually for the tag team championships, and the catch was that if the only reason El Generico and London would defend the belts and put the titles on the line was if they could get a title shot if they won the match against Claudio. El Generico actually got the pinfall, so El Generico will actually be challenging Claudio Castagnoli at the at Kurt Russell reunion 2, which already has taken place, but I haven't seen that match yet. So yeah, this was still good. I'll probably give it 3 3/4. If it just went a little bit longer, this would have definitely been on pace to reach that 4 1/4 star level, whatever it is. I'll just break down the card really quickly. Roger Strong and Chuck Taylor. It wasn't great, but it was fun. The commentary, there was a lot of Ice Cube references to Chuck Taylor, which I thought was pretty funny. Like they were saying, Chuck Taylor is not having a good day. Chuck Taylor wants to know, are we there yet? Chuck Taylor's America's Most Wanted. For some reason, they just kept playing off of Ice Cube. As a lot of you guys know, Ice Cube was a rapper from the late 80s, early 90s, out on the West Coast. So I thought that was funny. The Cutlers versus the RockNES Monsters. Really, really fun stuff. Cutlers put on another good showing in PWG. It's the same. I heard their ROH match. They didn't get a lot of time, so that sucks. But this was a lot of fun. Brandon Gatson and Ryan Taylor. Good stuff between these guys. I think Joey Ryan matches get way too much time, but it was a good showing from Gatson. A lot of cool stuff with Gatson going for the Sasuke special, and then Joey Ryan super kicking him on the outside. I thought that was fun, but it was kind of a dull match. I'll probably give it 3 stars. It was good stuff, but not like amazing or great. The Taylor Boys versus the Young Bucks. Just another awesome Young Bucks match. Well, not awesome. This is probably. This didn't get as much time as your typical Young Bucks match in PWG. The thing is, I'm really, really sick of the fuck TNA chants. I just think it's kind of played out. Every time the Young Bucks have a match, that's all you hear is fuck TNA. Every time Christopher Daniels comes out to the ring, it's fuck TNA. Daniels gets the fans to shut up and chant ROH. I just think it's kind of played out. But yeah, the Taylor Boys look pretty good here. Especially Ryan Taylor. I thought he looked pretty good. Young Bucks, all their matches are fun. Pretty much know what to expect. I'll probably say that was about 3.5 stars. A very, very solid show from top to bottom. Not one of PWG's better efforts, but still definitely check it out.